So here I want to talk about exponential functions and what they are. Let me widen this a little bit. There we go. So an exponential function is a function where a base is being raised to an x power. So now the x is in a different spot. It's actually in the exponents part of the equation. Okay, it's not down beside it, it's not in front of it. It's a very different type of function. Some of the common ways that we use exponentials are in banking problems where we have like PE to the RT. This is when your bank compounds continuously. So that's one way. It could also look if it's compounded differently. We'll have 1 plus r over n to the nt. Again, t, it's that time that we have. It's just like saying there's an x there. So if anything's raised to the power of x, it's an exponential function. Now there are some rules about what a can be. That is, a is going to be positive. We'll never have a negative number there. And it cannot be 1, because what would be the point, right? Because it would just end up being 1 again. So, so we have that. The other thing that, just so you know, because we've been talking about domain and range some, the domain is always going to be all real numbers for these. It's always going to be. Now the range can change depending on how this is shifted. The transformations still exist here too, so we can inside here with the x, we can make it go right or we can make it go left, and down here outside it could go up or down. So here is a function 5 raised to the x. So let's talk about what's happening if I'm looking for f of 2. So now I'm going to be plugging in for x for 2. So this would be 5 squared. So 5 squared would be 5 times 5, which is 25. So f of 2 would be 25. Now what happens when I have a negative number going in? So let's put in -3. That's going to be 5 raised to the -3, which is actually fine. This now, if you remember your exponent rules, we can't have a negative, right? So we want to move it to the denominator. We don't want a negative power. So this is actually 1 over 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. So that's what that would be. And always write those as fractions. It's not too hard. Let's do another one where we actually begin with a fraction. Let's do 1/4 to the x as our f of x. Excuse me. Let me get the eraser up here. So have this, and this is going to be our function. So this is my f of x. So let's find f of, let's say 3. This would be 1 to the 4th raised to the 3rd power. So this, you could either do 1 cubed over 4 cubed, because that is one of our exponent rules, or you could just do 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. Either way, we're going to get 1 over 64. Okay, let's see what happens when we plug in a negative value though. So let's put in -2. That's 1/4 raised to the -2. I'm going to get rid of this negative power here first. So what happens with a fraction is I'm going to flip it over. That makes it just squared now. So this is the same thing as saying 4 squared. So this is 16. What's interesting about these is you could just type this into your calculator, 1/4 raised to the -2, and it'll just pop out 16. So you can always check behind your work. So that's all I wanted to say about exponential functions. I hope this helps you learn to plot points and things of that nature. Thanks.